Sahu sir and his managing committee members. Chairman of CGK chapter CMA Lalit Kumar Mishra, Chairman of Raulkela chapter CMA Praveen Kumar sir, Chairman of Talcher and Angul chapter CMA Antarjami Acharya sir, Chairman of Sambalpur chapter CMA Khironandar Chandra Nanda sir, and their managing committee members, esteemed CMA members, respected senior members, academicians and stakeholders. I, CMA Shaktidhar Singh, Chairman, Professional Development Committee of Bhubaneswar Chapter, on behalf of the organizers, warmly welcome you all to the today's webinar on the post-COVID rejuvenation of MSME and agriculture sector, a way forward towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. For the information of new joining and today's resource person, I am just highlighting few lines about Bhubaneswar chapter. Bhubaneswar chapter have already celebrated its golden jubilee in the year 2019-2020. This chapter is one of the best chapter at pan-India level and has received best chapter award in the Eastern region under category A chapter for 22nd time. Only chapter who has received brand building award. This chapter has around 700 member strength. Since the year 2003, members of this vibrant chapter representing regional council and central council for providing professional services. Two members of this chapter, CMA Prabhakar Mahanti sir, CMA Dr. Suresh Chandra Mahanti sir, already represented as president of our Nobel Institute. In view of the pandemic COVID-19 situation, Bhubaneswar chapter has continued to conduct various activities for the betterment of members, students, and stakeholders through virtual platforms. We are conducting continuously programs for members and classes for students in digital platform. For the greater cause, we are conducting the webinar in association with other chapters at Odisha in virtual platforms. Regarding today's topic, member PD committee CMA Suryanarayan Tripathi will deliver keynote address. It is my proud privilege to introduce today's resource person. About Sri Shivananda Bhanja sir. Sri Bhanja sir has joined banking sector as an agriculture officer at Malupura, a rural branch in the district of Mahendgarh in Haryana in the year 1989. And therefrom he started journey in banking covering Haryana, West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand and Delhi. He has experience as incumbent since 2000 as head of many rural, urban and even metro branches, including as head of asset recovery branch in Ranchi and Delhi. Recently he joined as a circle head Punjab National Bank, Kotak, Odisha. His hobby and passion is on photography, and his wildlife photography has got a place in National Geographic Society wall very recently. He always said never give up in life because life is always a bliss and nothing is permanent in life, so live and let live all. Thank you sir for acceptance of our invitation. Sri Sushant Kumar Mishra is like my younger brother and was pursuing MCom with me at Ravenshaw Autonomous College. After that, he has done many courses such as MBA, Amphi, MFM, CLE, DOC, CTF, SME, FB, MEL, KYC, CFES, CRB, CCFM, CRP, etc., and many more banking related courses. He joined the banking industry during the year 2004 as specialist officer in credit and risk management with Ecobank. He moved to Union Bank of India during the year 2009 as senior manager credit SME. During the tenure of banking service, worked at various branches, regional office at Kolkata, Madhya Pradesh, Mumbai, and presently as regional head at Union Bank Sambalpur. Thank you, dear Susan, for acceptance of our invitation. Now I would like to request CMA Suryanarayan Tripathi for delivering keynote address. Tripathi.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Respected honorable guest, Mr. Swananda Bhanda, sir, Circle Head PNB Cutter, and Mr. Susan Kumar, Union Bank of India, and all respected members presented in this webinar. Very good evening, sir. Before going to the topic, I would like to say the COVID-19 affect a lot to the various sector of economy, in particularly hotel industry, tourism industry, print media industry, civil aviation industry, automobile industry, and in generally it affected all types of small and medium industries. This pandemic situation and the nationwide lockdown has given a negative impact in supply chain, production chain, and other economic activities of the country. In such a situation, the big corporate and the MNCs are performed a little because major part of their activities and performance are IT enabled based. But other organizations which are functioning through manual work and real-time basis work procedure had faced a serious challenge to survive. As a result, it has affected the manufacturing as well as service sector. Therefore, our economic growth rate came down. To restore it, PM Narendra Modi announced an incentive package of 20 lakh crore as part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhijan with the slogan, vocal for local to make it global. As we know, MSME and agriculture sectors are playing a significant role in our economy. After agriculture, MSME is the second largest employment provider in country of India. Presently, there are nearly 56 million such enterprises exist in various sectors in India, employing close to 124 million people. Similarly, agriculture sector provides 20% of the total number of jobs available in India, contribute around 18.1% to the GDP. To revive the economic growth, our finance minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, announced an economic package in May 2020 to boost this above sector. Our economy is an import-based economy where import is more than export. And our major industries are depending upon the imported goods to perform their production or service. During the lockdown period, we feel a serious scarcity of such type of imported goods to do our industrial activities, and we finally failed to do that. In this challenging situation, emerged a new opportunity, and our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji declared that we will find some alternative and we'll go for the self-reliant Bharat or Atmanirbhar Bharat. Sir, in this situation, RBI also has given a moratorium on term loans, easy working capital financing, and put off interest payment on working capital facility without an asset classification downgrade. Additionally, MSME borrower can avail a maximum number of loan amount up to 200 crores or 10% of the existing fund-based working capital limits. The government has also extended GST payment due date till June 2020. Despite this measure, MSME sector facing many challenges in post-COVID-19. Sir, we are the professional cost accountants who are expert in financial sector. I can say where there is any impact on economy, we play a vital role to revive it. Sir, I can say behind every successful business decision, there is always a CMA, and this is our mantra. for MSME, whether for registration, project approval in a single window system, release of subsidy given by central government and state government, Aadhaar Udyog certificate, entrepreneur identification number, project report regarding MSME and agriculture activities. We play a significant role. Sir, we are the expert in the field of cost determination, cost reduction, cost audit. Sir, also we are very much expert in GST filing and GST audit. We are also covering the concurrent audit, revenue audit, stock audit, internal audit of various banking sector and PSU sector, of all PSU sector and banking sector. Sir, last I can say, in this situation, we are the expert person who will give the perfect suggestion to our small enterprises, and they can get a fruitful suggestion from this cost accounting phenomenon. Sir, with this, I just finished my keynotes, and I can go to listen to our resource person. Thank you.
Thank you, CMA SN Tripathi. Now I would like to request Sri Sushant Kumar Mishra to address the gathering. Sri Sushant Kumar Mishra.
Yeah, thank you, Shakti bhai. Is it audible?
Yeah. Audible.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me for this webinar. Addressing a team of cost accountant itself is a challenging job. Though we are sitting on opposite side of the table during discussions and all the things, but both of us are equally.
Not audible. Sushant.
Sorry, everybody. Sorry. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shakti, is it audible? Yeah. Sorry for there was a call. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, as you people know very well, COVID-19 has affected the economy not only in the world, not only in India, but the world economy. It has adversely affected world economy and the business. And world is facing the slowdown, biggest ever slowdown in a decade's history, or say in a century's history. It is much more than it is affecting the economy much more than 2008 global financial slowdown. And to overcome this, the governments in the world has come out with certain policies throughout all the countries. The government has come out with certain policies like fiscal stimulus, monetary stimulus, a large program to overcome the effect of the contamination that has been due to the COVID-19, we can say. And most of the government, like Indian government, most of the government in the world has come out with the financial stimulus package. Now, why MSME? There is different sector. Government of India has come out with the package for not only MSME. It has come out with a package for agriculture sector, for MSME, even for retail sector, individual borrower, everybody. This package is really required to sustain the world economy or the Indian economy. MSME is such a sector which is generating maximum employment and revenue for a country. As a banker, I can say if I break up my balance sheet, if I exclude the large corporate, MSME gives me the maximum amount of revenue. and this is one of the most revenue generation active generating, or we say a cash cow for a banking institution. Now, during this situation, government has come out with broadly, I can classify it or segregate into six type of programs that government has announced. I'm just narrating those things. Then point wise, I will go, and along with I will try to correlate the same with what banking sector has done with those government policies. First of all, government has come out with a policies of collateral free loan. This is applicable for the advances belong to standard category, SMA 1 and SMA 2 category. Such situation has become such that government has to come out with a policies for the bad loan, we can say. That's the NPA loan, SMA 2 category loan, which SMA 2 means which are likely to slip. NPA. Now, government has come out with another policy of equity infusion for MSME through fund of fund. Even when the situation has not been changed, government has changed the definition of SME sector. MSME cannot say SME sector. Then we will go for the global trend. Now, just before Tripathi sir has narrated something about that self-reliance, I can say we have to be self-reliant. We need to produce our own product, our requirement, and we can sell vocal for the local product. And apart from that, certain other measures, with certain other measures, government has given some power to different sector, like some financial sector they have given, finance ministry was given some power sector they have given certain power, like that state governments was also given certain powers. So this is a thing that government has come out, banking sector, other sectors include, each and every one is trying to come out of this situation as early as possible. Now I'm going to touch upon each and every point, and I would request, if there is any doubt, you can any doubt or anything, if you want to ask, you can disturb me at any point of time. Now coming to the first thing, during March, around 15th of March, we all are aware that this situation is going to deteriorate. Now the situation will come and we need to close our economy, we need to close our border, we need to close everything. And that has happened. During this time, year ending was there. It was the time that if something has not been done, accounts should have been slipped into NPA category. Then bank will proceed with the recovery measures, all these things as per the guideline. So at that junction, the first stimulus package government has come out with the package. They have deferred the interest payment, installment payment, all these things. During this collateral free loan, around 25th or 26th of March, each and every bank, this is in line with the Government of India guideline, each bank has come out with a package called emergency line of credit. Bank has extended credit facility to the MSME borrower, 10% of their outstanding balance on 29th February 2019. Bank has extended the credit facility of 10% of that outstanding balance based on certain criteria, that is available. The basic criteria was availability of drawing power, so that the minimum current ratio should not deteriorate. Minimum current ratio was stipulated at that time by different bank. It is stipulated at different level based on the DP criteria has been defined. So basically we can say, if we analyze all the banks, it has been stipulated at 1.15. That is the minimum for all the banks. Later on, after few days, government has come out with another policy. Now they have to liberalize the working capital assessment model. and it has been. So first of all, I will touch the COVID emergency line of credit. Here the basic criteria was your account should be a standard account. It's, or if it is SMA account, it should be SMA 1 and SMA 2. It should not be SMA 3. Bank has extended 10% of the outstanding, 10% of the outstanding of the fund-based limit, excluding non-fund based limit, only fund based limit, 10% of the outstanding balance as on 29th February. At that time, the loan, it was a working capital term loan. It is to be repaid repaid in 24th monthly installment, including moratorium. That was there. Again, government has to come out with the policy of the liberalized working capital assessment model. So, yeah, sorry. Sorry, it's a Sunday, so everybody from home will ring up. Sorry for the disturbances. In the liberalized working capital model, the assessment model, previously what we are doing, we are taking as a 25%, as a thumb rule, we are financing 25% of the net sales. Now government has permitted, or RBI will say, the RBI has permitted to change it to 33% of the working capital assessment, 33% of the turnover. So if I say my turnover is 100 rupees, previously I was eligible for a limit of 20 rupees. Now I am eligible for a limit of 33%. So I'll, if I discount the, what we say, the net working capital, the NWC in the system, I'm eligible for a amount of 28 rupees in the 28 rupees. So we are given, borrower was been given a higher amount of working capital as a first stage of stimuli. Again, there was some certain rider was there in between that working capital, the DP, for DP drawing power calculation, the working cap, banks were given the power to enhance the period of book debt from 90 days to 180 days. In case to case basis, it has been permitted to go for 360 days based on the business model of the borrower. Again, if we go ahead, that was there, difficult question. Yes, the working capital assessment, during working capital assessment, the current ratio that has been previously we are touching at 1.15, it has been reduced to 13%. From 15%, it has been reduced to 13%. So borrower was given some additional fund in this manner, and this facility is extended up to 50. First stage it was up to 25 crores. Later on, it has been extended up to 50 crores of the borrower with a turnover of 100 crores. So this was the first stage. And later on, during May, around 25th, 26th May, government has come out with a package under the National Credit Guarantee Trust Company Limited, a company that has been floated by the Government of India. They will guarantee the fund financed by the bank. So as a banker, my concern is whatever amount I am financing, my capital is blocked as per the capital adequacy norm. Now, government has come out with a National Credit Guarantee Scheme with a Credit Guarantee Trust Company Limited. In this case, in the previous case, we need to take care of the working capital. We need to do the assessment based on the turnover of the borrower, based on the financial provided. Now, in the second case, government has given a free hand. Now, based on the outstanding balance as on 29th February 2019, the cutoff date that 2020, the cutoff date that has been finalized, banks were instructed. In this case, in the previous case, banks were not instructed. Banks were given the mandate. You can go up to 10%. Now banks were instructed to give 20% of their outstanding balance to the MSME sector as a emergency line, guaranteed emergency credit line. to each and every MSME borrower, subject to the condition that unit is operational, he is an existing customer of the bank, and the past due should not be more than 60 days. If it is more than 60 days, then again it is classified, it is gone, it has been transferred to SMA2 category in the books of the bank. So standard asset SMA1 and SMA2 borrowers are eligible under the scheme. But the hurdle was there. You need to check the civil only. If there is any default, then we can go. We cannot go for the scheme. In this case, in the emergency line of credit, we need not have to assess the viability of the project. We are instructed to give 20% of the outstanding balance on 29th February 2020. And in the previous case, the current assets has been previously hypothecated to banks, is bank is having the first charge. Now in the second case, we need not have to assess the position of current asset and current asset position of the borrower. So hypothecation clause doesn't arise. Collateral security in the first case, we need to get it extended for the facility sanction, but in the guaranteed line of guaranteed emergency credit line, we need not have to extend the collateral security of the borrower. So we can say this is a pre-approved credit scheme, sanction limit up to 20% for each and every borrower. Bank simply opens the account, get the amount credited into their operating account so that he can utilize the fund. In the first case, in the first case as well as in the second case, as a banker, we only need to look out the end use of the fund. This fund should not be misutilized. This is for creation of fixed asset creation of creation of current asset, that is for the working capital finance of the borrower, and not for not for certain other use or takeover of certain credit facility. Moreover, the emergency credit line bears a nominal rate of 7.5%. It is similar for all the banks. Now this facility, this emergency line of credit, it is repayable within a period of 36 monthly installment after a moratorium period of 12 months. So borrower is getting a moratorium period of 12 months. After that, he is paying it in 36 monthly installment. The beauty of this scheme is for 12 months, you need to pay only the interest. After that, you will pay the installment. And rate of interest is 7.5%, which is, at my opinion, and the number of proposals I have processed or sanctioned at my regional office, the rate of interest is the lowest. And every day we are seeing in the paper that finance ministry is declaring that this much amount of line of credit has been extended, and this is a very true and nominal picture, sir. Nothing hanky-panky in this picture. No book entry is there. Borrowers were given the funds, and we have seen that with this fund, certain borrowers, they have started operating. Their unit has started. The unit which has been totally shut down because of this COVID, it has been operational right now. So this is one of the good things. Now, this is for the benefit of the, we can say, the standard borrower or SMA1 and SMA2 borrower. Sorry, SMA0 and SMA1. Now coming to the borrower who are categorized as SMA2, overdue for 60 days, and certain cases NPA borrower. Government of India has come out with a very beautiful scheme naming subordinate debt. Subordinate debt means your debt is already in poor condition. Now we need to support those borrowers. The scheme is called Distressed Asset Fund Subordinate Debt for Stress MSME Unit, particularly for the MSME unit. This is a part of the relief measure of Government of India. to Ministry of Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises. MSME department is taking care of this fund. But here there is one rider. To get benefit of this scheme, the account should be standard as on 31/3/2018 in the books of the bank. There should be regular operation, either a standard account or a NPA account. Operation should be there. The unit should be operational. It must be in running condition. Then we can fund them in the form of sub debt. This is one type of capital funding, we can say. In this case, banks do not fund to the unit. Rather, we fund to the promoters of the unit in the form of a personal loan. And for the distressed fund, government has created a 4,000 crores of corpus for this MSME unit. Excuse me. Subdebt facility extended by lending to the MSME unit to the extent of 15% of their promoter stake. That is the equity plus, we can say, the unsecured loan also. Whatever amount of unsecured capital is there, unsecured loan is there, 15% of that amount, or 75 lakhs, whichever is lower. Now here one rider is there. To assess the amount of the fund that would promoters contribution, banks need a certificate from the chartered accountant, either a audited financial or a certificate clearly certifying the amount that has been invested in form of promoters capital. And during this 2-3 months period, we have already experienced in the banking sector. We have already experienced certain stressed assets of the bank has started generating income. The units are there that were operational. The problem is that they are not getting the fund to operate. Once account categorized as NPA, bankers is reluctant to fund him. So when we have started funding to this type of unit, now few has started generating income. Unit is. Excuse me, sir. Anything? Any doubts, sir? Yeah. So let me continue. So units have started operating. Now the rate of interest for this type of funding, it's the EBLR of the bank. It's linked to EBLR, and it has been fixed by the Government of India that the rate of interest will be EBLR plus 2.5% for the entire tenure of the loan. The loan tenure for this type of this funding is for a period of 10 years. It's a 10-year loan period with a moratorium period of 7 months. During this moratorium period, borrower only has to pay the interest. He doesn't have to pay the installment anyway. After 7 years, for next 3 years, the installment will be payable in 36 monthly installment. So if I am giving a MSME unit this much of funding, definitely that unit will be benefited from this type of funding. So this is one of the measure for the NPA sector. Now coming to we have covered this thing, the liquidity fund, subordinate debt. Now coming to the corpus fund that has been equity infusion that has been in mind of Government of India. This is not yet operational through banking sector, but this is in the mind of the Government of India, and Government of India has carved out a 50,000 crores equity infusion fund for funding this MSME unit. Under this program, fund will be provided equity funding for MSME with growth potential and viability. Unit is viable, then government will fund. This will help the unit in further expansion as well as capacity building. Previously, whatever funding was done in form of subordinate debt, or we say the emergency line of credit, those were only for working capital requirement. This equity infusion will help the firm increasing its capacity. So it just like in we can say a turn on type of thing. And government is aiming that with this type of funding, with infusion of this much of capital, they will be in the MSME unit will be in a position to get itself listed in the stock exchanges, with various stock exchanges. So again, that is an added benefit. Now coming to the fourth part, the most beautiful thing that with which government of India has come out. Rather, I like this thing very much of the government of India as a person, sir. They have redefined the MSME definition. With this changes, I think most of the unit, excluding some capital intensive unit that are available in our state, most of the units will be covered under the definition of MSME. Micro enterprises doesn't exceed 1 crore invest in plant and machinery and 5 crores of turnover. Small like that, 10 crores and 150 crores. 10 crores is investment in plant and machinery and 50 crores in turnover. Then medium enterprises 50 crores of rupees in plant and machinery and 250 crores in turnover. Sir, as you people very well knows, if an unit covers under my MSME definition, bankers are not reluctant to give him fund at a cheaper rate. Generally MSME sector financed at a much cheaper rate. So when an unit is defined under MSME, the rate of interest itself declined to a very lower level. So this will again help the unit to grow. If I am giving 2% interest concession to a MSME unit, taking a fund of 50 crores or 40 crores from me, 2% rate of interest concession means something for that unit. Now, as a banker, we are going through each and every unit that we have already financed. Now we are reclassifying, redefining the definition for that unit and extending the benefit that we can give, relief that we can give. Now, at this junction, Prime Minister of India has declared something very nicely. He has been declared how we can be self-reliant, how we can produce ourselves, our goods. In this case, our MSME units facing the competition from the I can say the unfair competition from the global players, mostly from China, Taiwan, from that part of the country, that part of the globe. Now, with closure of the borders because of the COVID-19, movement of goods restrictions were there. Now we have started producing our own goods. It is good to see that when our Prime Minister is saying that we have produced this much of mask, we have produced this much of globe during this period, and that has been produced in-house. This gives moral booster for everybody, and if we produce that thing, we can produce anything. Now, with a view to promote self-reliance and promote MSME, global tenders above 200 crores has been disallowed. That will be procured, or in that tender only Indian company will be permitted to participate. With 200 crores of tendering, a value up to 200 crores, number of tenders will be there if our own companies are participating. So we are getting an opportunity to fund them. We are getting an opportunity to get the financials ready for those companies to be bankable. and we can generate revenue for our country, for our bank. This this restriction will help us and support Make in India initiative of the Government of India. Apart from this thing, certain other measures that has been taken. But I can say the marketing and liquidity, the major problem that as per me the MSMEs are facing. First is marketing and liquidity. Marketing, now Government of India is focusing on digital marketing. As a banker, we are focusing on digital platform. In the same way, markets has been comes to digital platform. Government of India is focusing on that. He is pursuing with each and every department to go for digitization of the product. In the same way, digital payment that has been seen a manifold increase. Again, e-marketing linkage for MSME product, which will act as a replacement for trade fairs and exhibition. So these things are going. Again, MSME units are again facing one problem, fixation, meeting the fixed cost. During this COVID period, that 6 to 7 months when operation, 5 to 6 months we can say when operation was not there, but the fixed cost was there. Units, to certain extent, banks have financed through emergency line of credit, all these things that was there, 20% plus 10%, 30% banks have financed. But that is not sufficient to get rid of the situation. In this case, now government is approaching for suitable reimbursement, but that is an initial stage. No decision has been taken. It will be taken. With respect to GST, it's sir has already told, Tripathi sir has already told, government has already extended the due date of filing of GST. In certain cases, government is considering the reduction in GST rate. So this will help the unit to grow. Now with all this, there is an opportunity that this is what all about the procedure during the 6 months period that has been taken care of to, I can say, the save the industry or to go ahead with the situation. Now we will see the what type of facilities, what type of thing that as a banker or as a financial expert we together can provide to the customer. Now with this digitization, what the government of India is thinking or taking care of. Now you will see that the fintech companies are growing like anything. We are also seeing, and you are also seeing, you are making an expenditure, you are making a card swipe, you will get a call from a company that yes, this is the thing, you are doing this much of transaction and we are ready to provide you a credit card, we will provide you a personal loan like this. Now when all the transaction will be digitalized, if a customer will make his procurement payment digital, customer will make a customer will do the GST payment, everything through digital mode. Now financial institution has the access to those platforms. Then financial institution will be in a position to assess the borrower capacity and the amount of lending that could have been done. In this case, we will get a chance to put the same into a digital platform, and we can our TAT, what we call the TAT, that will be reduced drastically. So this is one outcome. Now this what the banking industry has done that I have narrated, what the government has done that I have taken care of certain things, but main issue for survival of a unit. Now as we are discussing about MSME and our role as a cost accountant or as a banker, for survival of any unit, it's required positive cash flow and liquidity. I have gone through around 60 to 70 files during this period, and after analyzing their balance sheet, what I can conclude that This thing can be done by reducing the accounts receivable. If I reduce the receivable period, then this will increase my liquidity. Or in other way, I can say increase my account payable, my creditors period I can increase in any way. If I can reduce the inventory during our school days, we are sorry college day, we are reading about the Japanese concept called JIT, just in time, or we can say Six Sigma. We can come out to a certain level, then we can reduce our cost. Now get rid of the assets which are not required. If you visit any particularly MSME unit, big corporate, they're taking care of those things. Any MSME unit, there will be n number of items that will be lying here and there of no use. Certain items they procure for the luxury purpose. The certain item they purchase like this, and that is not been utilized, and it is been with them for a period for lying in their yardstick or premises. If we get rid of this item, we can generate certain revenue. Now, the capital expenditure plan that has been made, we need to reassess the position now. We have made certain plan for capital expenditure pre-COVID period. Now something has happened. My liquidity has adversely affected. Now, if I can do something with that, so I need to revisit with the capital expenditure whether I am in a position to make such an expenditure. If I will make certain expenditure, my liquidity position may hamper. This liquidity may help us generating certain revenue. So I need to reassess. And in one line, I can say there should be a well-planned cost reduction program, focus on reduction of both fixed and variable cost in the system. At this junction, I have to make a cost reduction in a planned manner. Cost reduction, cost and investment, there is a very thin line of difference. If if I say I am making an expenditure, so I should generate some revenue immediately. If I say I am making an investment, so that will give me a return in a certain period of time, period of time. So at this junction, we need to distinguish between an investment and the expenditure. Whether my unit or I am capable as an MSME unit, I am capable of making such an expenditure or investment, that is to be reassessed. And here the role of a financial professional lies. He need to say whether this expenditure is viable for him or not. We have I have personally met with number of during my tenure. I have banking career of 15 to 16 years. I have met number of I can say MSME promoters. They have hardly any idea. If I ask for something from them, they will say, "साहब मेरे CA से पूछ लीजिए." So here lies the role of a chartered accountant or a cost accountant. You need to guide him to ensure the survival and revival of the MSME unit. Focus on capitalizing the measures announced by the Government of India. Government of India has given you seven parameters. I will say seven weapons in your hand, weapons in your hand. You need to tell the borrower to take benefit of each and everything. Second, you need to ensure liquidity at all time. There should not be any financial crunch. Bank will give you around 30% of the fund of your outstanding balance as on 29th February. But regular cash flow will be there. That is, managing the cash flow is most important. And again, reduction of both fixed and variable cost in the system. You need to reduce. And this can be done by, I can say, through very good governance. There should be proper reporting system. Your promoters, your proprietor, and being a financial expert, you should have the entire data of the system, where the fund is going, where the fund is coming, what is the debtors receivable period, debtors turnover period, creditors turnover period, how much time the stocks are in process or in the warehouse, all these things. And the most important thing, timely course correction action. If there is something wrong, we cannot wait for a longer time. we need to get it corrected as early as possible. With this thing, I can say that we can save the unit. MSME unit is such a unit that is generating maximum revenue for bank, for the country, and for the unit itself. And it is giving the maximum, it is giving the maximum employment. If an MSME unit is running, it a small MSME unit, I will say, if I finance a MSME unit through Mudra loan or Pradhan Mantri employee generation scheme or anything, it is giving with a 10 lakhs of investment, it can generate revenue. It is generating employment for 3 to 4 people. So being a banker, being a financial consultant, we should guide them in a proper way. We should prepare their financial in such a way which is bankable, which is viable, and before and when we are sorry and uh, and when we are preparing the financial, my suggestion or my request to the financial consultant fraternity, that you should give them, you should sit with them, you should discuss with them, prepare the financial as per their requirement, their viability, not in a standardized manner. So with, I think with all these measures, MSME unit can get rid of this situation and they can revive. I think that is all from my side, and I'm open for anything, any questions from your side. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sushant Kumar Mishra.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now we are another resource person, Sri Shivananda Bhanje sir, Circle Head, Punjab National Bank, has joined with us. I, on behalf of my managing committee, welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Saktidhar Singh, President of ICAI Bhubaneswar chapter, and my predecessor, whose deliberations were quite informative, Mr. S.K. Mishra from Union Bank of India. I am thankful to you. A lot of things I came to know. Though I am circle head, but having expertise in all the fields is not possibility always. So I am thankful to the team of listeners who are not only educated, but highly educated at the financial matter comes in. I am lucky in a way, since the year 2000, when I became a scale 2 manager in Punjab National Bank, maybe few of the scale 2 managers across the country could have got the opportunity of statutory audit. So my first auditor, I don't remember the name of that firm, but I was lucky. My first experience was extremely well, because that is the only time when banker becomes so submissive before the auditors, statutory auditors, because of the reasons known to everybody. But since from the beginning, I was a very keen person related to lending, because of my starting of career as an agriculture officer in Punjab National Bank of, I was posted in those days in Midnapur region of West Bengal. So to be precise and start my deliberations, I would say one thing. During these COVID times, a lot of things has surfaced in financial sector across the globe. Apart from few industries, most of the industries are yet to revive, like tourism, service sector. Many of the service sectors are now emerging, and particularly hotel industry has been affected like anything, tourism and hotel industry. But luckily, one sector which gives us bread and butter to the entire globe is not much affected. I will start with three schemes that I have prepared, for which we invite all my friends from chartered accountants, cost accountants, and all persons related to financial sector. There is a lot of scope. This is my first posting in Odisha being circulated. Prior to it, I was posted in, my first posting was in Haryana. Then it was in West Bengal for 11 years. Then another part of West Bengal, Siliguri, for 4 years. Then I became Chief LDM, Lead District Chief Manager of Bihar 1 District, Buxar. That gave me an opportunity to control not only Punjab National Bank of India, many other banks. I had 114 banks under me to look after as a liaison with state government, Ministry of Finance, and Government of India, RBI. Now our team was with me. So I gained a lot of exposure in that way, being Chief Manager LDM of the district. Then I got an opportunity because I had always a knack on recovery. Bank chose me for Chief Manager of Asset Recovery Management Branch of Punjab National Bank in Ranchi. Then I got promoted to AGM, posted in Calcutta. I was handling the single biggest account with solo banking, Jindal India Limited. Again, fortunately or unfortunately, I was picked from Calcutta to Delhi to handle about 1,472 crores of bad loans of Punjab National Bank in Mayur Vihar Phase 2. Again, this June, I have been made circle head and transferred to Odisha. So I'm lucky I could get the chance to address my state people, my own people. Thank you very much. I will start with my lending to agriculture sector. One is commercial broiler farming. There is huge demand for broiler meat throughout the year. Everybody knows earlier Andhra Pradesh was the prime supplier of broiler as far as demand existed. Employment generation is another way in broiler farming. It is a very profitable enterprise, and at the end for poverty alleviation. Coming to who are eligible beneficiaries, farmers having adequate land, individual entrepreneurs should have requisite land and experience in broiler farming. NGOs can also join. Duly authenticated copy of list of office bearers, registration certificate, trust deed, bylaws. I will add one thing, because all my learned friends know it pretty well, that these days, whosoever is a member, who is signatory, or who is a part of the NGO should have a very clean civil score. So that's a must, because bank will first of all go for civil score. Self-help groups can also join for taking poultry loans, should have resolution of formation of self-help group, authenticated copy of office bearers, cash book, statement required for loan. Adequate land for the activity or land may be leased in the name of the beneficiary. Loan amount and nature. As per the model project by the Department of Animal Husbandry, project cost comes around for 4,000 birds, about 18 lakhs, for 5,000 birds, about 22 lakhs, and for 6,000 birds, about 27 lakhs. But this is not the ultimate. Depending upon the project, the bank can finance, my bank can finance. Bank loan will be provided to 75% of the project cost, and everybody knows 25% should be the minimum margin. Loan may be provided as term loan for capital expenditure, like construction of the shed and all the utensils or equipments that are required for poultry farming, and cash credit limit for the recurring expenditure for the unit. Coming to security aspect of the bank loan, primary security will always be hypothecation of birds and other assets created out of bank loan. Up to 1.6 lakhs, there is no collateral in Punjab National Bank. Beyond 1.6 lakhs, there are three ways to mitigate. One will be charge mortgage of agricultural land. It comes to 100% for other farmers, and 75% for small farmers and marginal farmers, or lien or FDR, NSC, or suitable third-party guarantee. Even there are instances where the borrower has a good relationship over long years, taken a prior loan and repaid in time. The bank also is agreeable to suitable third-party guarantee even if the farmer or the borrower has expertise on the subject, on the particular scheme, then it is possible and it is feasible. Government schemes and subsidy in poultry farming. Under MKUI, Mukhyamantri Krushi Udyog Yojana scheme, state government is providing general male 40% subsidy, SC/ST women agriculture graduates 50% subsidy. Subsidy is always proportionate to the size of the project. Friends, I will come to my next deliberation on commercial dairy farming. These are very common things, although we know it pretty well. But in Odisha, in a large scale, there is a lot of scope for dairy farming because the dairy farming is not that organized. Very recently, one entrepreneur, I will not name, if you personally call me, I can give you the name and phone number, who is providing me A2, a branded milk of Gir Gai from Gujarat. He has bought some 25 to 30 Gir cows, and I am cherishing the good quality of Gir Gai's milk since last almost 1.5 months. It is simply beautiful, very tasty. And if you want to take out paneer from milk, it is almost 150% as compared to desi cow or our local supplied milk. Coming to commercial dairy farming, scope of dairy farming in Odisha. The milk production status is increasing each year in Odisha because day by day, the financial condition of our common man is improving. Forget about this particular and peculiar COVID situation, which has already made the whole world to stand still. Let us take it a normal situation. The milk production of status is increasing each year in Odisha. Scope for taking up dairy in commercial scale in a big way, like the white revolution started in Gujarat with Anand Milk Dairy. To become self-sufficient to export milk even. There is even scope of exporting milk through chilling, milk chilling plants. And our friends must be knowing there is a lot of scope. The bank is financing even the chilled vehicles for transporting milk. Loan can be taken for setting up a modern dairy farms, upgrade traditional technology to process milk at village level, value addition in milk, milk processing plants. Who are eligible? To be precise, farmers should have sufficient land for shed and fodder area for grazing of cattle. This is the minimum basic requirements. The farmer who opt for taking dairy as a farming should have sufficient land for shed and fodder area for grazing of cattle. Individual entrepreneurs, adequate experience in the activity along with above mentioned requirements. Even NGOs can join duly authenticated copy of list of office bearers, registration certificate, trust deed, bylaws. Self-help groups can also join dairy farming through resolution of formation of self-help group, authenticated copy of office bearers, cash book, statement required for the loan. Cooperative society, milk unions, milk federations, those who are present in the local area can also join for taking dairy loans in a very commercial way. Certified copy of bylaws, resolution, registration required to be produced. Experience and land for the activity is a prerequisite. I am emphasizing it time and again. Experience and land for the activity, like having land for shed and fodder area, is a must. Amount and type of loan. As per model project by Department of Animal Husbandry, Government of Odisha, project cost for 20 cows comes around 16.5 lakhs, including term loan and CC component. For 30 cows, 25.8 lakhs, and for 50 cows, 38.6 lakhs. Bank loan will be provided up to 75% of project cost. Term loan for 5 years repayment. Coming to the security aspect for loan, primary security, hypothecation of cows and other assets created out of bank loan, like the shed and all other equipments, fittings. Up to 1.6 lakhs, there is no need of any collateral. Beyond 1.6 lakhs, it can be mitigated in 3 ways. One is charge creation or mortgage of agricultural land, 100% for other farmers. The mortgage value, collateral value should be 100% for other farmers and 75% for small and marginal farmers, or lien on FDR, NSC or suitable third-party guarantee. Government schemes and subsidy prevailing at this moment under dairy farming under MKUI, Mukhyamantri Krishi Udyog Yojana scheme, State Government of Odisha providing general male 40% subsidy, and for SC/ST women agriculture graduates, there is a grace of 10% more coming to 50%. And subsidy is always proportionate to the size of the project. Coming to another very common practice by the farmers, like inland fisheries development projects. Fishery is a very known thing to Odisha. Prior to so much hue and cry, fishery, we people from Odisha, we are quite used to taking fish in our daily meal diet. So fisheries has a lot of scope. In Odisha, there are 3 types of fishery. We get 3 types of fish: marine fish, river fish, and also pond fish. There is also brackish water fish cultivation, mostly done for prawn farming. Loan can be granted for excavation of ponds. When you have a pond, existing pond, for the excavation works, even loan can be granted so that the mud and silt deposits on the base of the pond can be removed, and it's a huge cost. So loans can be granted for excavation of ponds, renovation of ponds, purchase of fish seeds, fish feeds, medicines, taking up intensive pisciculture activity in a big way. Coming to who are eligible for this pisciculture, farmers are always eligible. Apart from them, individuals having adequate know-how, and borrowers should have pond or land for converting the land into pond or getting into pisciculture or fisheries loan. Minimum land area requirement is 0.2 hectare to 2 hectare maximum to be eligible for subsidy scheme. Beyond 2 hectare, the project can be taken up, but it is not necessary that one will opt for subsidy. Subsidy limit is from 0.2 hectare to maximum 2 hectare of pond size. Amount and nature of loan. As per model project by Department of Fisheries, Government of Odisha, for 1 hectare area, unit cost comes to 8.5 lakhs. Loan may be granted for 5 to 8 years with yearly mode of repayment. Initial gestation period is allowed up to 11 months, may be granted. Security required for the loan. Primary security, as in all other cases, hypothecation of fees and other assets created out of the bank loan. Up to 1.6 lakhs, there is no requirement of any collateral. And beyond 1.6 lakhs of the loan amount, there will be charge mortgage of agricultural land pond, which is 100% for other farmers and 75% for small and marginal farmers, or lien on FDR, NSC or suitable third-party guarantee. Government schemes under fishery and the subsidy, MPY, Matsya Pokhari Yojana, which is a specific scheme to Odisha, providing subsidy in a big way for general male borrowers, candidates, it is 40%, and for SC/ST, women and agriculture graduates, it comes to 10% addition, 50%. Subsidy is always proportionate to the size of the project. Thank you, friends. Because of paucity of time, I could not make out much more because of this half-yearly closing and all this COVID time. Most of my bank branches, this COVID is very much in a peak stage in Odisha. So if I have given an opportunity, I can give deliberations into the minute details of so many other schemes that Punjab National Bank is going to finance. And we have met so many meetings with state fishery department to collaborate with them and coordinate. We have assigned one nodal officer from my circle office who will take care of the entire state fishery applications that are being sponsored and given to bank branches for financing. And in true spirit, we are making it feasible. In Punjab National Bank, right now, the structure has been changed. Earlier, there were branches who were looking after all the loan aspects, but from the amalgamation of United Bank of India and Oriental Bank of Commerce with Punjab National Bank, PNB 2.0 has emerged out, and we have separate verticals for looking after big ticket size loans. Only all the branches of Punjab National Bank are now general banking branches, and they can finance up to 10 lakhs. In agriculture sector, they can finance up to 3 lakhs only. And beyond 3 lakhs, it will be taken care of. Beyond 10 lakhs in other loans will be taken care of. RAM center. RAM is retail, agriculture and MSME centers. In our circle, it is one Katak RAM who have 3 segment heads, one for MSME, one for agriculture and one for retail, headed by one chief manager. And it has started doing business in a big way. 10 days prior to it, we organized one mega credit camp for generation of leads across my 5 districts that I'm entrusted with, like Cuttack, Jagatsinghpur, Kendrapada, Dhenkanal, and Onugul, and sufficient number of officials from Ram Center visited all the branches on the date of mega camp to generate leads. Officials from my office, including myself, also visited all 5 districts so that a clean and clear message should go to the field. The Punjab National Bank is emerging in a big way to take up the cause of uplifting of the people of Odisha, not only in agriculture, in retail, as well as MSME sector. We could generate about 201 leads of 36.22 crores. And that is not the end of the show. The real work has started now. We are monitoring from each branch so that the turnaround time comes to minimum. It should be maximum to 7 to 8 days so that the true beneficiaries, the people of Odisha, get the real benefit by taking loan and repaying the loan. We are also educating people. Recently, Punjab National Bank launched Gram Sampark Yojana across the country on 2nd October on Gandhi Jayanti Day. Every circle head were assigned to visit 1 or 2 places, and by that our bank's motto was to reach the farmers, reach the local people, to make them knowledge and aware about digitization of banking on the spot.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sure.
I just want to
I
know.
cannot see you. If I can see you, it will be better. But
Yeah. Yeah, sir, my question is, in order to avail subsidy under various schemes, is it like taking loan from maybe a financial institution is mandatory,
No,
or?
not at all. Not at all. Your question is very pertinent, and you have asked a very right question. For getting subsidy, a farmer need not have to approach a bank. Even in fishery sector, I am not much aware about poultry and dairy, but in fisheries, I have come to know because of the deliberations given by Deputy Director of Fishery a few days back. Even without bank loan, they can go for subsidy direct through linking with fishery department.
Sir, I have one more question.
Sure.
Particularly when the under SURFACEI, the seized assets or land or properties are sold, maybe the information is not available in general. Obviously, there are companies who looks after recovery process and
Yeah.
the disposal process also. But
Yeah.
is there any source from which we can learn availability of any undisputed property where investment can be done and a project can be started by any bank, not only PNB but any bank? Yeah, if you can.
Every bank right now, every bank has a system of when any property is being put to auction. I am exactly. Yes, I remember the name because prior to this posting, I was in asset recovery management branch at Mayur Vihar, Delhi. E-Bicroy has been started from, I think it is from July or May. E-Bicroy scheme. Through E-Bicroy portal, all the banks of India have to give their advertisement through E-Bicroy only. And one nodal bank is there. When they deposit the 10% down payment or they are bidding, that is have to deposit in a particular bank, and it is visible to all. And in my bank, pnbindia.com, perhaps it will be the website where you can find. In all other banks, yes. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Please continue, sir. You are audible. There is some disturbance, maybe some of the participants.
E-Bicroy portal has been started by Government of India. It is a common platform where all the banks in India will have to sell the SURFACEI related property through E-Bicroy only. E-Bicroy.
Okay, sir, continue.
So I was continuing with Punjab National efforts during the recent days where verticals have been created up to 10 lakhs at branch level in agriculture sector, up to 3 lakhs and beyond 3 lakhs in agriculture, and all other loans up to 10 lakh. The next level is RAM center, retail, agriculture, MSME center, and beyond 1 crore. They will look after 10 lakh to 1 crore, and beyond 1 crore, there is Meet Corporate Center, MCC Center. So luckily in Cuttack circle, we have got a RAM Center and also MCC Center. And people are now being educated in that way. We are approaching through Punjab National Bank has launched Gram Sampark Abhiyan that was launched on 2nd of October nationwide in all districts of India, wherever PNB's presence is there. And it will be conducted 30 more, including the first one, total 30 number of such Gram Sampark Abhiyan will be started till 31st of December 2020. And I'm hopeful PNB will serve the nation by delivering credit to the needy farmers and the much not aware of the people of this country in a big way. We are not only marketing our loan products, we are also marketing different digitization products like Bhim, UPI, Atal Pension Yojana, and all other insurance, Government of India insurance business programs. So we are hopeful in coming days, PNB is the second largest bank of India, having 11,000 branch presence across India, starting from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from Northeast to Gujarat. We can do a lot of business, and I will expect my brothers from cost accountancy and chartered accountancy fraternity to help us in a big way. My personal mobile number is, if you can jot down for any queries in recent future on any matter, as far as my knowledge will go, I will definitely help. My number is 70 440 70801. And if I am permitted, due to paucity of time, because my relatives have come earlier, I was not knowing that. So I will beg your pardon. If I am permitted, then I can leave for a family get together in some restaurant. And I will be happy if I am invited for any other scheme in near future. Anybody from ICAI can join me over telephone. You can also come to my office, which is very much centrally located in Bhubaneswar, in front of the HHI Hotel, Kharavadanagar Unit 3, near Sriya Swati Talkies. Give me a call. I will definitely wait for any gentlemen or ladies if approaches for any reason. I will feel obliged.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
And thank you all for giving me a patient hearing. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I leave?
Yes, sir. Just can you wait for 2 minutes only?
No, I can wait for 5 minutes. I am not that
you.
VIP. Ask me any question.
No, actually, you have a personal assignment. So, okay. No, there is no question in chat box. Otherwise, actually, there is
anybody
an
can raise hand or give me a question. I'll be happy to answer.
Okay. Anyone, any question? Please ask or put in your chat box.
Sir, your bank is always preferring 100% collateral, or we can also, if it is 50-60% collateral and primary.
Sir, in all the 3 schemes I have discussed,
okay,
mostly collaterals beyond 1.6 lakh is 100% for small and marginal farmers. And these collateral issues are much related to NABARD and RBI guidelines. So every bank will have the same structure of collateral, 100% for small and marginal farmers and 75% for, 100% for other farmers, those who are not small and marginal, and 75% for small and marginal farmers. In big projects also, we can go beyond that if depending upon the visibility and rating of the project.
Okay, sir.
Okay. 1 minute, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you for nice interaction with our CMA fraternity.
This is my first opportunity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In coming future, I will learn a lot from everybody on the other side of the table.
Sir, we will meet you soon.
Sure.
Actually, there is an announcement. Our office bearer of EIRC has been elected for the year 2020-21. I, on behalf of my managing committee, congratulate all the office bearer of our EIRC at Kolkata.
Thank you. My congratulations too.
Okay, thank you, sir. A very good evening once again to all. Thank you all for nice participation. At the outset, I convey my hearty thanks and deep gratitude on behalf of the organizers to Sri Shivananda Bhanja sir, Circle Head, Punjab National Bank, Cuttack Circle, for acceptance of our invitation and grace the Ognit. I also convey my hearty thanks to Sri Sushant Kumar Mishra, Regional Head, Sambalpur Union Bank of India, for acceptance of our invitation and nice deliberation on rejuvenation of MSME. My special thanks to Chairman and Managing Committee members of Bhubaneswar chapter and Chairman of other chapters of Odisha for their continuous support and make the OBNIT grand success. Last but not the least, I convey my sincere thanks to all the participants for their active support in participating in large numbers through their digital platform. Thanks to Tushar and Vishwala Babu for their effort. Thank you all. Stay healthy and stay safe. Jai Jagannath.
Thank you. Jai Jagannath.
Thank you.
Chalo, Jai Jagannath.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
कौन चेयरमैन की है